Hi everyone, this is Rachel here, the Modern Shaman. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas yesterday. It has been a beautiful holiday season. And welcome back for this week's edition of the YouTube question and answer videos. If you're new to my channel, I always suggest that you guys go to my website. If this is the first video you're seeing and you don't know anything about what I'm about, it's just a great resource for all things for the Modern Shaman. It has my teaching curriculum and a link to the portal of the modules that you can access on your own. It also has any sort of scheduling information if you'd like to sit with me for a personal session here in my office or online. And it's just a great resource to kind of find out more if you're interested in diving deeper into your spiritual connections. I think that's all I need to say. All right, let's get on with the question of the week. Okay, this one said, "Hi Rachel, thank you so much for the Christmas meditation." Oh yeah, I hope you guys saw my Christ light meditation. That was last week. That was a powerful video. The light on the wall was so strong right when you invited in the energy of Christ. It was so cool to watch and see the proof, like Christ's light was literally entering into the top of your head. Your eyes were closed. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this. Where was I? Your eyes were closed, so I don't think you saw it. So I was doing the meditation. Y'all go back and watch that video if you haven't seen it. And there was just this light that was pointed straight kind of at my coin on the wall here, and it was phenomenal. It was really cool. I'm gonna have to go back and watch for right when I invite in the energy of Christ in that meditation. Really cool. It started like creating like this spiral. It looks like DNA double helix, like spiraling on the wall. It was beautiful. Okay. Anyway, my question is, when I get messages from Spirit during meditation or prayer, they always seem silly, and so I don't believe them. It may be a silly song or a movie. Something pops up from my pop culture. It's not spiritual at all. How do I hear the deeper messages? You know, what's funny is that I had a conversation similar to this. This is always the way Spirit works, right? When they're trying to get across a message or they want me to speak on something, they bring it up multiple times. So it's interesting that I had a conversation during my winter solstice event, which was beautiful. Thank you all for coming. Those of you that were here, it was a beautiful time of unity and communion and clearing and aligning. So anyways, that event was here, and just kind of like a little secondary moment afterwards before everyone left, there were two women that kind of came over here and were speaking to me alone in the office, and one of them was talking about how she often got messages through movie scenes. And so we had the same conversation, and the fact that you're asking this question just means that there are a lot of you guys out there that will benefit from the answer. So let's talk about this when Spirit gives us kind of crazy messages, right? So the first thing that I want to say is, don't overlook the messages that are sent to you through movie scenes or song lyrics, those two that you mentioned, because oftentimes they are really easy communicators for Spirit to choose for us, right? Because Spirit will always pick the quickest, most effective, efficient way of communicating. They will kind of dive in there and speak in a language that we understand and that clearly communicates the message like quickly. So you could say a lot more, if you think about it, from the spiritual realm to us if you give us an entire movie scene or a memory from that scene, because you're communicating characters. So we may relate to one of the characters in that story, or the person we're praying for may be one of those characters in the story and be symbolic of that character. It may communicate a particular drama or message or trauma that that person's going through in the movie that's similar to our experience. It may show us a way to handle it. It may show a conversation that we could have with the other person, or that we should have with ourselves, or a conversation that Spirit's having with us. There are so many layers that can be communicated with a scene, dropping us into a memory of a scene or a moment, more than literally just sitting here and waiting for a clairaudient voice to talk me through guidance that sounds very spiritual and Yoda-like, right? Where we have to kind of pull apart the spiritual nuance in it. In essence, when Spirit speaks to you through pop culture like that, it is very relatable and accessible to all of us. So it's a clear and simple way to communicate with us. And Spirit does it all the time, all the time. The same with waking up with a tune in your head. Listen to those lyrics. Sometimes it's even the harmonies in it, the tones, because there is a universal language of sound frequency that literally gets to our trauma, our nervous system, our traumatic response in the body. So it relaxes our muscles, our tension, all of these types of things. It moves us into certain brain waves and frequencies of meditative states. Also, when it's repetitive and we have something in our head over and over and over, this is mantra, this is chanting, right? These are things that we've been doing through our ancient practices and native practices for as long as we can remember. And when we hear it now, don't discount just because it's a modern day song or it's a current song. But if you wake up and you have it in your head over and over and over, let that play out like a mantra in your day, or let it set that meditative pace or the toning. There is a higher level of communication that's happening oftentimes with those things. When our guides and those in the non-physical realm know what we need, and it doesn't have to be processed through our brain. So much of our psychology and our brain can kind of get locked up in the ego. Like, oh, it needs to sound spiritual. Spirit doesn't care. They are not in our cultural understanding of what spiritual is. They are beyond the way that we understand them to work, right? So we think Spirit looks a certain way, or we think spiritual has this mystical tone to it, but it's as much in our everyday normalcy of life, the mundane of life, the pop culture of life, as it is in the spiritual or mystical. We as humans are the only ones that title it that, and that package it in that kind of label. So Spirit doesn't view it like that. It's all the same. It's all communication. And I'm sure in our ancient days, when people were doing mantras and singing and chanting and learning that may have also been considered very simple to them. It may be considered normal. There may have been practices where singing and tones that they use every day help them in their everyday activity. You think about, like right now, I'm seeing a vision of Negro spirituals like out in the fields, and songs that literally help the body sustain suffering and trauma and move through it with a sense of fluidity. Songs move in harmony, just like a wave, right? And they work that sound wave through the body. One of the really cool things about our winter solstice activity is we had gongs. One of the women that I had mentored, who is now doing her own working practice, uses gongs in her sound healings. And so we were in the pool in water, and you could literally see the sound waves move across the pool in varying frequency, because you could see the wave. It would create a ripple, and then she would hit the gong in a different way, and it would create an interference ripple coming the other direction. It was phenomenal to visually see what is happening and moving through our skin, our pores, affecting the water inside of our body, because we know we are primarily water in our body. So it was a beautiful reassurance and reminder of how effective sound is in healing the human body. So don't overlook those kind of obvious messages from Spirit. Just because they seem silly doesn't mean that they're not absolutely communicating something with clarity and precision to you. Also, the last thing I'll say is that you can always ask Spirit. If you don't understand a message, ask them to repeat that message. Or ask them to give it to you in another way in which it would make sense to you. Ask them to speak with clarity. Repeat the message until I get it. Show it to me like a freaking billboard. Knock me over the head with this message. Send it to me over and over and over and over and over until it's clear that I've understood it and I've received it correctly. Don't forget that your relationship with Spirit is relational. It is a conversation. Okay, if someone tells you something and you have questions about what they say in real life, human to human, you would just say, I didn't understand that. Can you explain that again to me? Or can you slow down a bit? You're going too fast for me. I need you to break it down, right? If there's a concept we don't understand, you can ask for clarity. Literally just say that back to Spirit when you're in that meditation. Just say, can you show me in another way? Can you make me feel it? Can you make me hear it? Can you bring someone in that confirms it? Can I pull a card that says the same message? Whatever feels like it creates a sense of confirmation for you, ask for that. When I was starting out using in a very proactive way my psychic gifts, I would ask this all the time. This was literally one of my psychic boundaries, that if I do not understand the message, give it to me again. And give it to me continually until I understand the message, until it's clear that I've received it in the way that you want it to be received. And so I would get messages like that. That's a dangerous prayer, because then you get it hit over the head. Literally I would see billboards and then hear the song and then and then get the message and then and then open a book and there it is. But if you need that when you're beginning, it can create a very strong relational bond with your spirit guides and your ancestors and non-physical higher self that's communicating to you from the other side what it is that you're seeking. So ask Spirit for that. And, when I think about myself as a child or when I was growing up, I always loved poetry. And I think this is why I loved poetry, because it has the pattern of multidimensional communication. It was like my introduction to symbolism, to genre, to theme, to, metaphor, and all of these layers within language. And media and visuals like movies have so much. Think about how much layering is involved in that. So it's a beautiful type of communication from spirits. And oftentimes, depending on the guide or the entity that's speaking to you, they will pick a language that also communicates the way they want it to be received. Meaning, if you received a light-hearted message, there is a layer there that's speaking to you that you're supposed to receive the message in a jubilant, lighthearted, playful, childlike energy. It's being given to you in that energy for a reason. There is conscious decision and precision in the way Spirit speaks. If they are speaking very mechanical and unemotional, then there is a message in that as well, that they want it to be received without an emotional drama attached to it. Just take it like a mathematical equation, and you don't need to put any drama around that message. So they're communicating the message, but then they're also communicating how it's to be received. So there is a lot of, what did you say? How do I hear the deeper messages? There are a lot of deeper messages in the way it's being communicated to you. So look for that as well. Okay, I hope that that's a blessing to you. I'm going to sign off here, and I'll be back next week with another video.